Hey guys, Mr. Anime Frank back, showing you how to install a nayax to a golden house. Toolkit that I use, we got a drill, knife or wire strippers, pliers, metal shank, toolkit I use, quick connect 2x4. So for the quick connects, this is what you want to use. I mainly use the 2218 and the metal shank. So here, kind of getting set up, obviously nayax, opening it out of the box. Inside the nayax boxes comes with a reader, a template, mounting brackets, stickers, and a cord. When you order through candy machines, you should select the pulse cable option, and they send you the pulse cable. That's what you'll need for mini claw machines. You won't need the MDB cable. So with that, I got the template out, and with all the golden houses, they come with a metal plate to install the nayax onto the machine. So I have the metal plate on the table, punching out the template from the nayax. And here what you want to do is you want to get it on the plate and try to center it as much as possible. You could use a ruler, but honestly, what I do is I just eyeball it and make sure I get it correct. Get a marker or Sharpie and just kind of dot the circles that you need to drill out. Now we got that, just make sure the circles align up. And there you go. So we got that going. Next step, get the scrap pieces of wood. I use 2x4. And what I'm going to do is, to help hold the plate down while I drill, I'm going to use the top two holes to kind of keep it steady. You can use any type of screws here. And like I said, just screw it into the piece of wood. And you want to make sure you have enough room on the back side where those holes you just drew to line up, so that way it does a nice clean drill hole. Tighten them down. Boom. Now with this metal shank, it has different layers, and this is what I prefer to use instead of individual drill bits. You can use the individual drill bits, but this one's just a little bit quicker and a little bit better. So with the shank, you only want to do the top tip of the shank. Pretty much as soon as it goes through, you stop. So here you can see that I'm going with the first hole. Got that going. Second hole. And you can see that how I'm holding the 2x4s to keep it from shifting away. It's just better that way. And then onto the big hole. So my drill battery was slightly dying, along with it's a 12 volts, so it's not as strong as some of the other ones. So most people won't have this problem. I was kind of having a little difficulties here. But now I got the hole through. Looks good enough for me. What I end up doing is I always go on the back side and do the same process, just to kind of clean up that drill punctures on metal. Just gives it a cleaner, smoother edge. But yeah, after that, nice and clean. Was able to rub my fingers around it, no problems. And then we're practically done with the pieces of wood. Undoing it from the wood. And we're technically done with that afterwards. And then always clean up your mess. Now, technically you could do this on location, however, I don't, because I don't want any of the metal shavings to go inside the machine or anywhere near the machine. It just keeps it cleaner. But yeah. So here we're gonna get the nayax kind of prepped. You could do this now. I'm just taking it apart to kind of show you the hole alignment and how it's supposed to look on the plate. So you can't really see it, but you could definitely get the screws through, and that's coming up next. Yep, here you go. So yep, this is the pulse cable. So there's two different types of quick connects. You always want the one with the 22 to 18 wire range in the red. No difference, but those are the types you need for this, and some wire nuts. Also, the nayax comes with an antenna, and that's very important for the next step as well. And now you're ready. I'm just packing up, ready to go on location and get this nayax installed. So here we are on site. This is the goldenhouse that's going to get the credit card reader. First step is to make room. You want enough room in the back to get to the main wiring components, and you want enough room to go back and forth. So here I'm just getting things open and getting it started, but you see that little opening right there? That's where the wiring is going to get fished through. And yep, so this is where the bill collectors are. It's important to know the wiring for that, because the nayax in this case is going to get hooked up to the bill collector. And here's my toolkit again. So in the back there's going to be this compartment. It has total 6 screws. Go ahead and just unscrew them all off. Plate drops down, and these are the wiring harness that you need to mess with. So you got your 24 volt hookup, so go ahead and open the bottom. So here we're looking for the wiring harness for the dollar bill acceptor. It's going to be the harness right here with the green wire inside. What I do is I pull it out just enough so that way the door can still open and close. But what we're going to do here is we're going to fish the wiring loom back up into the compartment above. As you can see here, we're just going to fish it up so that way when we do our wiring hookups, everything will be in this compartment and not down below. So as you can see, I pushed it up and boom, we have enough here to tie up the harness all together. So this is the wiring bundle that we need to use along with that. So with this wiring harness, we should be ready to go to the next steps. So back to the toolkit. Awesome thing about this, it has everything you probably need for the mini claw machine, no matter which type. Most of them are all going to use a 7mm. So as you can see here, I'm trying to get it all set up. Doing everything one-handed is pretty tough. But yeah. So here we got the 7mm on the ratchet. Make sure it's on the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey setting, and here we go. So there's going to be 6 of these hex heads that we got to remove. It's such a tight fit that honestly what I do is I just move it enough to loosen the bolt to the point where I could unscrew it by hand. Some of them are going to be extremely tight or just difficult because of the placement of it, but as you can see here, all you got to do is just do that one break free and you can do everything by hand. When I do these, I typically just drop the hex heads down. They're not going anywhere, and plus it's a good thing that they stay down there, so that way you know where they are. And here I'm just showing you that once you break it free loose, you could just move on to the next one and do the rest by hand. As you can see, I'm having difficulties. It's very hard to record this while doing everything one-handed. But I eventually got it. So on these little extensions, there's little grooves. They're typically made to do stuff like this, as you can see. So I'm doing everything by hand. I think I only got 2 bolts that were still pretty tight. So I am going to come back with the ratchet again. But as you can see, we're just easily getting them off. Coming back for round 2 on these last 2 hex heads. And boom. Now that's done, we can slightly remove the plexiglass and voila, it's out of there. And as you can see, the screws are safely at the bottom. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this pulse cable kit. Typically, what I like to do first is run it through the plate that we just drilled out through the big center hole. And then I run the wires. You can run the wires first, however, getting it back through that hole requires kind of bending and pinching the wires to go through it, and I typically don't like that, so I just run the wires through it first. As you can see here, just fish it through, and then boom. Now that we got that, I'm going to fish the wire through, and you want to go through the door, not through the opening. You'll see why here after we get it all going. So yeah, we just fish the wires through there. And what I do is once I know that it's in there, I just set the plate on top of the prize field and then just pull the rest through. And you can see it right there. So just grab it, pull a little bit, and then make sure you just get enough through there. And there you go. So for the antenna that we're about to do, it's the same process but reverse. So here's that antenna. And instead of going through the front, we're going to go through the back. And what I do is I just keep it as close as I can to the yellow cable. And you only need a little bit. And you can see there, I was able to get it. And back up through the door. Remember, it's important to go up and out the door, not through the cutout. And then back through the hole, and now you are ready to get your nayax on that plate. There you go. So next we get the nayax, and what we do is we open up this plastic covering. What I lately been doing with these nayax readers is just making sure the SIM card is in. I have gotten it sometimes where it's loose and wiggles out. So here I'm just making sure the SIM card is still intact. And then just pretty much getting a good camera angle. So yeah, pretty much only one way to plug the cable into the nayax, and then the antenna cable goes into the antenna cable slot, and then the plastic cover you just put back, and you just slightly bend the pulse cable so that way it clears the entrance. And then here you'll just pull the extra wires back through, and then you will line up the nayax one more time and screw it down. So for me here, I'm going to be using a drill. I've done enough of these to know how tight to make them tight with the drill. If you're unfamiliar, I recommend using a screwdriver until you know how tight to get it. But like I said, I've installed a handful of these that I know how tight is too tight. that we got that all nice and tight on there, we're about to mount the plate to where the plexiglass plate was. I think I had a little bit too much extra wires here, but I made it work. So as you can see, we go straight down through the prize chute, line it up, and boom, we got it. And that's kind of how it looks right there. So with all the golden houses, they come with a backing plate for the card reader. So I'm getting that out, and I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to kind of clean up this wire mess and to get it to look nice and easy to put that backing plate on. So this backing plate has those little slots. That's where the wire goes through. So what I end up doing is I hook the wires into that slot, and then I bring them up to where it needs to go onto the screws. And there's only 2 of them on this. So once I got that, then you can get the other side down. Here, the mounting plate was a little bent, so I had to unbend it, but I did eventually get it to fit perfectly. But that's how it looks right there. As you can see, it's through the slot, and it's nice and clean through the backing. And I think we are ready for some screws. And we already know where they are. They're at the bottom of the chute. And what I do is I typically just spin them on so that way they're on. Sometimes I don't go all the way with my hand, just because it is a tight fit. So what I end up doing is I just make sure I have enough to keep the plates and everything on, and then we come back with the 7mm and extension along with the ratchet and do the final tightenings that way. And that's why we have to shoot. Sometimes it happens. At least all the screws and nuts fall straight down. I think I'm on my last one now. So back again, what I do is I go through all these and I make them as hand tight as possible. That way when the ratchet comes in, we only need it to be hand tight. Typically I do 1 click on the ratchet. That makes it strong enough so that it stays placed. And it's about the same tightness as before when you were trying to get them removed. If you can't do it by hand, you do have the ratchet. I know some people may struggle due to its location, but you can just use the ratchet the whole time. I was also told by members of the Discord that you could empty out all the prizes and remove the playing field plexi right there, and it makes it a tad bit easier. But typically I don't do that. I got my time frame down to about 20 minutes installing one of these. So if you do have multiple, it's super easy. It may seem like this video is long and a long process, but once you get the hang of it, it's gonna be a breeze. So yeah, now we got the nayax on. Next step is the wiring. So this is very important. You want to use the red and black wire for power. It doesn't matter which one you use, as long as you use one red and one black. They're going to say AC/DC in and AC/DC negative. So here we're going to see the negative black and then the red, which is positive. So here, better view of it. So you can use wire strippers. I use a regular pocket knife. These wires are so thin that some wire strippers are not able to strip the ends. What I do is I gently press on with the knife just to make a nice clean indentation, and I'm typically able to peel off the rest by fingernail. As you can see here, just a tiny bit and then pull off. And then there you go, you can see it. So with this wiring loom, you're gonna see a plug and another plug that go in together. That's going to be your wiring power. It's going to say 24. It's going to be black, blue, and orange. And what I do here, this is where the wire nuts come in. So after that, I start stripping those on that. Remember, you want to do orange and black. So when you hook it all together, you're going to want to do orange to red and black to black. So same thing on the other power wires. Just getting them stripped, adding the orange to red, adding the wire nuts. And typically what I do sometimes is I just make sure I do a slight pull on the wire just to make sure the wire nut is secured. You don't want to pull too hard. Here I pulled a little too hard and broke it free, so I'm just redoing the connection again. Adding that wire nut again, nice and tight, and I do a little tug, and boom, good to go. So next step, we want to locate the wires that say pulse 1 and its ground. So pulse 1 is going to be the green wire, or it's going to be the green wire, along with its ground. and that's going to be the gray wire. So these two are going to hook up to the coin mech wiring. So the green wire is going to hook up to the blue that we see here, and the gray wire is going to connect to the black cable. So I'm getting my quick connects out, and these guys are super easy to use. It doesn't require any wire cutting. You could technically use it for the power wires as well, but I typically like to use the wire nuts. So as you can see, these are the quick connects. You pretty much push the solid wire through the top and the cut wire through the bottom, and I'm about to show you how do we do this. So we're going to start off with the blue. So we got the blue here. So a little close-up view. So we see we got the blue in this here. Now we're gonna get the green wire inside, and it's gonna be a little tricky because they do like to stay together, but as you can see, we got the blue wire there, and then we're gonna get that green pulse wire, fish it underneath, and once it's in there, we hold it down. So here I'm just trying to see if I could push the middle thing down to kind of keep the pulse wire in place. I don't think I'm very successful here, so I'm just trying to line it up a little better. And then here comes the pliers, and what you do is you just push that metal tab piece down, making sure all the wires are still in there, nice and straight. I think I messed up and it moved, so I'm just opening it up just a little bit more so I could fish the pulse wire back through. Now that I got that through, pliers again, clamp it down nice and tight, and you always test to make sure the wire won't come out of it just by tugging on it lightly. If it stays in its place, then it's good to go. Then you close the cap up, and then that first wire is done. Now we're going to grab another one, and we're going to do the gray to black. Sorry, my hand's in the way. So there's the gray. Here I'm just trying to get it the same way. Got it. Pliers. Press down and crimp. Nice and tight. Tug on it just a little bit. It's staying in place. Close it. Boom. So that's pulse 1 in the power. It's all connected to the coin mech. So now the credit card reader should work. But what I want nayax to do is to track my cash sales as well. So with the pulse 2, we're gonna hook that up to the dollar bill acceptor. So that way, if anyone puts in $1 or 4/4 nayax will record that. So with this wiring loom here that we fished up, we want green and black. So I'm just opening up the loom just a little bit so I have enough room to mess with it. But here, as you can see, we got green, black, and red. We're gonna do blue, which is pulse 2, to the green wire, and brown, which is the ground, to the black wire. So we got another quick connect here, fish it through. Grab the pliers, squeeze. Make sure it's nice and tight. Do a slight tug. Now it's staying in place. As you can see, tug, tug, tug. Nice and good. Close the cap. On to the next one. So brown goes to the black. Wires all getting ready. I think here I totally put the wrong wire in. And that's partially because I am colorblind, so distinguishing orange and brown can be challenging. So here I'm just reopening it, getting that wire out and putting the correct wire through brown. There are different types of quick connects you guys can use. These are just the cheapest, easiest ones that I know to find. You can buy them at Home Depot. Sometimes Walmart may sell them. Even auto stores like AutoZone or O'Reilly's will sell them too. So yeah, just whatever quick connects you use, just make sure that it can handle the 22 to 18 wire range, and it'll say it. But yeah, so we're all set up with the wiring here. Everything looks good, making sure everything's nice and tight. Wire nuts are on, everything's plugged in, and that's pretty much done. So yeah, I kind of just push it in there. You could bake it prettier. Honestly, I think it's already neat enough. But some people clean it up a bit more, but that's pretty much it. Next step is the antenna. What I always end up doing is I just kind of go around the back side with it. Most of my machines are all already pressed up against the wall, so I'm not too worried about anyone messing with the antenna. There is some ways where you can bring it on the inside, that would be on you to figure it out. For me, what I just end up doing is just running the antenna straight up and down through here. I haven't had any issues with it. No one's been trying to pull or play with it. So I've been very fortunate. If you guys don't feel comfortable doing it this way, feel free to let me know what you guys end up doing. But here I'm about to just show you kind of what I do upon the closing steps. Now that we got that all tucked in there, lid closed, what I do is I make this antenna as snug as possible. Then I get my screws and then I screw this plate back in. I do not go severely tight at the top of this plate just because I don't want to pinch the antenna wire. And as you can see here, we're down at the bottom, so I locked it up. Just doing a quick cleanup. So I got the power turned back on. So like I said, just enough to where the wire comes through and not pinch the cable, but just enough to keep the plate on. And as you can see here, like I said, I don't do it too tight, just enough to keep that gap good. Doing the last screw and it's pretty much done on the back side. But yeah, that's typically what I do with the antenna. Like I said, it works for me so far. I haven't had any issues. Now we go back to the front. We got the light on the nayax, it's a good sign. I did not hear it chime yet, so it is probably starting itself back up for the first time, but seeing the blue light is a good sign. Here, I'm just going to lock up, close up everything, clean up. I did notice that I have a coin jammed, so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of open this up, figure out what's wrong. A bunch of quarters fell down. So now that I got that cleared up, lights back to blue, which is good. Gonna go ahead and close this guy up. As you can see, it's turning on. So now we got the machine pushed back, all done, cleaning up, getting it ready. As we can see, it's uploading an update. And then now we came back after it's done. We can see that it's been cycling and it's ready to go. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe.